How's it going, everybody? Happy Halloween. It's Kirk and Tommy.
Yo.
From LaneFlix Media. We're here to talk about Dr. Sleep, the sequel to The Shining, Stanley Kubrick film adaptation of a Stephen King book, 1980. This one here is from 2019. It's written and directed by Mike Flanagan. Definitely one of the best sequels I've ever seen. Basically, it stars Ewan McGregor and, here, we'll just go down the list of cast. Ewan McGregor, Rebecca Ferguson, Kylie Curran, which I don't know if she's been in other stuff, but she was really good in this. Carl Lumley, Bruce Greenwood, Cliff Curtis, Alex Esso, Jacob Tremblay, Henry Thomas, and a lot of other really, really good actors. Basically, this follows the son of Jack Torrance, Dan Torrance, as a grown man, kind of struggling with his alcoholism and struggling with hiding his own ability to shine, while also following a cult of, like, what would you call them, vampires, kind of?
Yeah, I guess like in the sense of The Shining, they're like soul vampires.
Yeah, like, soul vampires is a good way. Yeah, because Stephen King has a lot of like those type of creatures in his stuff. So,
okay, that's like a recurring thing.
Yeah, I don't know if he has a word for them, but yeah, I know like they're pretty much vampires,
right.
like soul, like you said, soul vampires. While they're kind of like trying to build their forces and like recruit people, it's kind of like X-Men in that way, where there's like this weird like evil group building, and like the good guys are like, I don't know, they're like the underdogs, and they're outnumbered. But yeah, so it's a really awesome movie. I was just kind of gonna jump into the plot and then kind of like go through all that, and then we can just kind of talk about it as we go, if that's cool. Yeah. So at the very beginning, shit is crazy. There's this little girl named Violet, and she is. Are they at like a fair or something? I don't even remember.
They're like a camping ground type.
That's
thing,
right.
Like
it's
like
like
ground.
Right. And she's like kind of walking off by herself, and does she hear her singing, right?
Yeah, she hears.
So she hears this woman singing. She goes down by the lake, and the woman sitting there, she has a flower in her hand, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then basically she has this whole conversation about how flowers taste better when they're like different colors or some shit. And basically she was alluding to like eating the little girl, and we were just like, so at first watching this, you're like, holy fuck, like, because you think it could just be cannibal, like they're eating her,
right,
not like soul, you know what I mean? And then it's just really well done, because the suspense is insane, because they don't even cut, they swivel shot from the little girl looking at Rebecca Ferguson over to like someone standing over in the woods, like a football field away. Yeah. So you can like half recognize them, you know. But then it's also crazy because Carol Straykin, I think is how you say his name, the giant from Twin Peaks, shows up in this scene and the rest of the movie pretty much.
Yes, sir.
And that was unsettling because he's a good guy.
Yeah, usually.
Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
And Dr. Sleep, he's the furthest from a good guy.
Different dimensions.
Definitely different universe. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, dimension. But so yeah, they basically get the little girl, and then we cut to a young Danny Torrance, I guess, talking to Dick Halloran at like a park.
Yeah.
On a park bench. And this was a really good move. I think they did not recreate the original actors' faces. They used actors that I think we've talked about this before, but they used actors that look similar and could do, I think, good like character succession to the last actor,
right?
Because it's almost not even impressions. I mean, the mom does a little bit of an impression, but like the guy doing Dick Halloran, the Scatman Crothers character, Carl Lumley, he's doing a great job of just kind of acting like that character, but not doing an impression, you know.
Definitely.
It was very interesting how he did it.
Not like plagiarizing the character.
Yeah. Like doing his own take, but keeping the character alive. Yeah,
for sure.
And I thought that was really interesting. The mom did a great impression, and I think as much as she could, she did her own thing.
Yeah.
The best part with her, I think, is the very end when she's with Dan at the very end. Spoilers, but
you like very end, but
very end. If you know what I'm saying. Spoilers, but then after that. You realize it's a dream, that that the adult Dan is having, right? Isn't it a dream? Yeah. And he wakes up and he's in a really sticky situation. You want to take this one, Jay?
Jesus. Jesus. So what happens? He pretty much goes to a bar, right?
So like he wakes up in the house, in the apartment.
Right.
And like he just has the memory of all that, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I guess you could do it in chronological.
Well, no, because like that is how it went. Like, so he has the memory of like what being in the bar the night before. Yeah. Like he like meets a chick and all this. I don't know. It's so fucked, bro.
Yeah, it's insane. Like he just meets this chick at this bar. And then they like, I don't know when they score coke, but they score some coke.
Yeah.
Go back to her place, get all fucked up. And like, in the morning is when he realizes, I guess she has a kid.
Yeah.
And like, she's like fucking puked all over herself in the bed.
And it makes him puke. Just the thought of like...
Ugh, yeah. It's so bad, dude. They do that so well because you like feel just as sick as he does.
For sure.
You know? But yeah, then he starts to leave. And he sees her purse. Like he looks in his wallet and he didn't have anything in his wallet. He's like totally dry.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck. So he looks around and he ends up taking some cash from the woman's purse. And then Dick Halloran, the ghost of Dick Halloran, pops up and is like, dude, what are you doing? Like holds him accountable because he's like, listen, man, she's got a kid and and like you could at least put her money back. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you could at least do that, man. And then it's just a really good scene, and it shows you that Dan and Dick Halloran are still connected even after all these years.
Even though Dan does not put the money back, but yeah.
Oh, he doesn't?
He doesn't, yeah. I don't think he does. I think he still takes that shit.
Dude, what?
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think he really does.
Oh my god, I never even noticed that. I just assumed. Okay.
Yeah, I think I may have to go back to just to make sure, but I think he still takes it, dude. Like,
damn.
Yeah.
He's a cold motherfucker for that, bro.
He's like, Scat man, you don't know how it is here, bro.
He said, Scat man, you ain't even alive, right? You ain't gotta eat and shit.
Yeah.
So then he ends up leaving and going to, what's it called? What's the town? Oh, it says just a New Hampshire town.
Okay.
So they never name it. He recovers basically in AA, and it takes him like 8 years, right? Isn't that what it was?
Yeah,
2011 to 2019, yeah. To get like fully recovered, but throughout him being there and then working at like hospice and stuff like that, he gains the title of Dr. Sleep, which is like pretty awesome because in the movie, I don't know how it is in the book, but in the movie, this old man names him Dr. Sleep just kind of randomly one night when he's helping like this guy kind of pass on
to the next life.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, good night for you."
So,
he's like, you're not to sleep. He just dies, bro.
Doctor,
That's a whole scene in and of itself as well.
Say, yeah. Oh, well, I think they did that because I think they wanted us to kind of compare how a natural human death is supposed to be and how, like, those monsters die.
Yeah.
You know, like, just like, this guy lived a normal life. He was, like, a regular guy. And
right.
He was just old. He was dying of old age. And look at how he died, like, pretty peacefully compared to how they died. You know what I'm saying? So,
big time.
It just puts it in perspective of, like, death's not that bad, I guess, is what they're trying to say. Especially if you're not, like, a immortal fucking soul vampire demon. Like,
yeah, it was definitely a comforting, like, comforts you with the idea of death, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the whole, like, we go on after. They didn't have to even get all religious with it. It was just kind of like, you know.
The little white cat, too, I forgot to mention that. When he's working hospice, there's this little white cat that lives there with them, and their name was Azrael.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So, it was just interesting because the cat would literally go into someone's room and, like, kind of lay at their feet on their bed right before they died. It was just like a little, like, I don't know, red flag or whatever. Like, hey, this guy's ready, you know?
Yeah, it's strange the turn they took with this movie. This movie is definitely like a dealing with death type of movie. Like, there was a lot of situations where people would say that they're scared to die or they're scared of what's after. Like it was,
yeah. Even the people that were like evil and like sucking souls and shit, they were like,
I'm scared.
Yeah,
like very philosophical.
Yeah, for sure. It was, and you're right. It's philosophical without getting too specific of like paying homage to whatever religion, you know, because they had like Christianity just because it's part of AA.
Right.
But it was kind of like, you know, you don't even have. You could be an atheist and like.
Which is also a big idea of AA as well. It's like you like they say it's like they use God, but you can like just use whatever you believe in type thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they just and like I only know because I dated somebody who was in AA, but like she was doing really good. She would say that like because she wasn't religious at all,
right?
You know, like she didn't believe in anything, and she was very into like the little prayer cards they had. And I would be like, so I didn't think you were religious. You know, I asked her one time when she was over, and like, she was like, no, I'm not. It's just like I think she said we call sobriety God.
Okay.
So like, I was like, okay, fair enough. I mean, that's like how the Hindu thinks. So like the perfected, like you perfecting yourself is God.
Is God.
Yeah. So like, yeah. Interesting shit. We got way off topic though. Before he even like starts all that stuff, he meets Billy, who's like becomes his best friend, and Billy basically like sticks his neck out for him and is like, yeah, get this guy a little halfway house room and a little job, and I got you, bro. And like he puts down the first 2 months for rent, so it's like, damn, bro.
Shout out to Billy.
Shout out to Billy, bro. Like.
My boy looks like Colin Kaepernick, by the way.
Yeah, played by a great actor, Cliff Curtis, who, does have the little Kaepernick hair going on for sure.
Looking clean, though.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. But yeah, Billy's one of the MVPs of this movie for sure. But then is when we actually go to meet the True Knot, which are this group of these soul vampires who, they call it sucking steam from people, typically younger people that have The Shining,
right?
But they like use that to extend their lives and like heal their wounds and stuff. It's really creepy. So then jump 8 years back to where we were, where Dan is recovered, and they're starving because steam has become like really rare and like not as many people have it. You know,
right.
Crow even says that at one point, and Rose is just like, nah, we'll find something. But yeah, you can really only get it from people who have at least some level of The Shining.
Right. But it seems like the stronger the level of The Shining, the better the steam, the more powerful.
For sure, yeah. But then in 2019, this is where Jacob Tremblay comes in. They actually, there's a baseball game going on, and this kid's up to bat, and they make a point to have the kids. Is it the kid's dad or just like one of the other dads, right? That's like saying like he seems to know what the pitcher's thinking.
Oh yeah.
But that actor is actually played by the guy who played the original Danny Torrance, so that was pretty awesome to have a little cameo that was just subtle, wasn't a big deal, in there. But he's talking about this kid Jacob Tremblay. So basically, he to these people in the town already, it seems like they know something's up with him. Like, maybe not supernatural, like, to what it really is, but they're like, yeah, he knows, like, he's good at baseball, he's extra good or whatever. The kid's walking home from the game, and, which is, like, in 2019, the kid's walking home, like,
by
miles by himself. Like, come on, guys. But he's walking home, and they literally pull up in a pedo van.
Straight up, yeah.
And they're like, hey, man, you're pretty good at baseball, man. You want to come play with us? And he's just like, what?
Yeah.
And then, like, I don't even remember what they do. Didn't the little blonde girl say you want to get in the van?
Yeah, she's like, we're your friends. You want to get
Because I forgot, they didn't even, in my little notes, I forgot to mention that they recruit this chick called Snakebite Andy.
Yeah.
Who basically, like, lures men into, like, trying to get with her, and then she just embarrasses them. She's like Chris Hansen.
Yeah. She cuts him a little bit on the face, and she's like, and every time you see a little girl,
I want you to remember.
Yeah, I want you to remember me.
A snake bit your face.
She said, remember this blonde fucking hair.
She said, yeah.
She said, Queen fucking vibes.
Queen vibes. But anyway, basically, Abra sees this girl, Abra, who's like the new Danny Torrance kind of. She sees this kid get killed in her like dreams, and so she wakes up and has this horrible nightmare, talking to her parents about it, and she transmits it through The Shining to Dan, and so they end up like, I don't remember how does it go.
Well,
oh, and then this is where Rose first like tries to get in Abra's head.
Yeah,
because I think she sees her at the supermarket or something.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, and she's like. Abra's like making like she's like trying to talk shit, and then Rose is just like, oh yeah, and then she goes to fuck with Abra, and she just blows her out of her mind,
like bust one of the displays at the store and
right.
everything, the glass. That was like shit.
Yeah. So then yeah, she's like, yeah, we gotta go get her. So basically, they're like all the True Knot go after Abra at this point. I think, doesn't the old man die before they go for Abra, though?
Yeah. I think he cycles or whatever before.
Yeah, so the giant from Twin Peaks, Carol Straykin, I don't even remember his name in this, but he's the oldest of the group, the True Knot, and it just kind of gives you a little, like, background on, like, what they go through, like, in their life, but she was saying that he's outlived kingdoms and shit, which means he's probably thousands of years old. And he's been literally just like murdering children and sucking their souls for thousands of years and like just getting away with it. So it's pretty insane that
like, bro, like before the 21st century, my man's probably living good.
Yeah,
like,
fuck yeah. Yeah, before like modern detective technology. Yeah. He probably didn't have to run from shit.
Yeah, like,
but especially this little like gaggle of freaks, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. But yeah, they basically show you what they go through when they die. Like, because it's like Tommy J said, they go through like a cycle, and basically it's when they're dying. So they're physically and spiritually dying, because what I perceived it as is like they've used up all the good that all these people could have done in their lives to like live longer. But I think at the end, all the bad that they could have done catches up with them. I think that's how because it's like it's a balance thing, you know what I'm saying? You always pay a price. It's like Wishmaster, you know? So, Wishmaster. Remember the Wishmaster? Yeah, it's kind of disgraceful to Dr. Sleep to like even mention Wishmaster, but I did it. Abra informs Dan, and he's pretty skeptical about like being able to fight them, and like he's like, there's too many people like that out there, you know, just like hide your abilities and like don't like seek out a battle or whatever,
right.
And like, you know, play it safe. He ends up, why does he change his mind? I don't remember.
What does end up making him change his mind? I
think,
is
it Dick? Dick talks to him, right?
Yeah.
At the hospice place. He was like, this girl needs your help, like you needed my help. And yeah, that's right. Because he's like, why me? And he goes, Dick's like, well, why me, man?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
He said, I didn't have to help your little white ass when you came to my hotel. But I did, didn't I?
I don't remember him saying exactly that.
I thought that was like word for word.
Oh, I must have dozed off.
Yeah.
But basically, Dick Halloran gets Dan to change his mind, and he recruits Billy and Abra's dad to help them kind of take down these bad guys.
Right.
And it kind of turns into like, I don't want to, it turns into like a zombie movie type strategy almost, where they're like, we're going to take guns and we're going to kill them.
Yeah.
Like,
straight up.
That's pretty much it.
And before, these guys seemed like all powerful, like they could just like force push you, you know.
Yeah, but they
get murked pretty quick.
They get the drop on them,
yeah,
and then they just off them all.
Because like literally the first real battle, like 80% of the team is murked, and then
right.
like Yeah.
First little fight, yeah, almost all the bad guys are wiped. You're right, yeah. It's almost like Abra's dad or like Billy or somebody had like military experience, and they were like, "We're gonna guerrilla this shit," because they got up in the trees and stuff. Yeah, it was pretty badass. It was definitely like strategically done. But yeah, they don't kill Rose or Crow, right? That's who survives that fight. Billy and Abra's dad are both killed. In the fight, because Crow kills Abra's dad to get to her, and Billy's killed from Snakebite Andy telling him to kill himself. It's pretty awful, to be honest, because like I said, Billy's one of the more favorite characters of the movie, and he just kind of gets off like a shitty death. He kills himself.
And while the other chick is like dying, it's like
she starts laughing too. You remember? Yeah, didn't you say you were gonna curb stomp her if you ever? Yeah, some shit like that.
The first one I said was like strangle her, like while she's cycling, and I don't know.
Okay, so I don't know what else I do. I just kind of like improv that shit. All right, fair enough. I guess I wouldn't know what I would do if I was confronted with a smoking like telepathic witch bitch.
Probably take it back to the old days.
That's probably the right move. That's probably the move. To be honest. But after that first fight, you really kind of get a taste of this movie because you're like, damn, like...
Yeah.
Because there's been all this build up and all this like background of these characters, and then you actually get like a little... I don't want to... Like a little taste of like what the movie's really about, you know? Because you get the death of the guy, you get the fight, you get like all of them dying like horribly, like you get some sacrifices. It gets a little raw for sure. The Crow guy takes Abra.
Yeah.
Has her in the little creeper van, like leaving.
Drugs her.
Yeah, he literally drugs her up, and he's like, "It's the most I've ever given anybody," and and it's just like, whoa,
yeah,
like what?
A little weird.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
He's like, we're gonna have some fun with you.
Oh shit, bro! I couldn't figure out if he was he supposed to be Hispanic or Native American?
True.
I don't know. Maybe I'm racist for that. I don't know.
Well, no, because it would make sense that we don't know, because like they kind of like blend in as well, because you know like Mexico and then like America. You know what I mean? It's like those cultures do kind of blend in. So, damn. What's his name? Do you know the actor's name?
No.
That would surely tell us.
That would surely decide. What's his name? Like Roger Jones or some shit. So Dan ends up actually shining into Abra, which I don't even know like how that works, but he, instead of like telepathically communicating with her, he like took over her body temporarily, which is like Chris, like whoa. But then he basically has, because then he can use her powers. And he used her powers to like tip over the van and like kill the guy, you know, he like fly through the windshield. Yeah, it's insane. And he takes wait, so like how, when was it that Dan and Abra met back up again?
Wait for him to throw Crow out of the...
Well, I know he did that telepathic, but I'm saying, because you remember they meet up and go to the Overlook Hotel?
Yeah.
But when did he pick her up? I don't remember that.
I think it was like, well, fuck.
She sees Rose on the road, the goat, like her little projection. She walks through that, and then it's like, I don't remember, like...
Maybe they don't like exclusively show that. Maybe they just kind of skip to the...
They just meet up, yeah. Okay. So they've met up, and they're going to the Overlook Hotel. Dan thinks, he doesn't really explicitly say this, but he thinks it'll be just as like dangerous for Rose the Hat as it would be for him or Abra there. So it's kind of even battleground, which is kind of a good move, I think. And it was cool for the movie. I mean, you could get all the references and all the little like angle recreations, all that stuff.
Takes you back to The Shining, like not just the Overlook Hotel, but
right. And yeah, it's crazy. He basically goes down to the boiler room when they first get there, turns everything on, and like I guess to like overload everything.
Yeah.
But on a like at a certain time, and then he kind of like roams the hotel and brings it to life and I guess it's with his shining.
Ah, literally. So that's okay.
Yeah, like he brings his energy into the hotel and like lights everything up. And then he has this amazing scene where I think this is pretty much the heart of the movie, where he talks to his dad as the bartender at the bar where his dad talked to Lloyd, the bartender. You know, same bar, same angles. I mean, it was just crazy. The only holdback is the actor who played him. You know what's crazy too? Have you seen E.T.?
The original?
Yeah.
I guess there's only one, but yeah, I've seen it.
The little boy from E.T. is the guy who played Jack in this.
Oh, no way.
That's the little boy from E.T. Right?
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
But he's great. He's in a lot of Mike Flanagan stuff. But he was really good in this. I just think that he doesn't look enough like him for it to like be perfect,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
It's just, if you get it, then it's like, okay, you can like, you know what I'm saying? Because that scene's more about the emotion between them than anything.
Right.
So, but yeah, no, it's really well done, and it's kind of reflective of how Jack was kind of talking all about himself in The Shining, whereas Dan's talking about how he's affected other people and how he can be better and like how he's trying to be better and blah blah blah. And it's just cool that to me that through the same temptation, Dan refused what Jack like embraced, you know.
Right.
And it shows you the difference between the two men and how Dan has used his father's experiences and his own experiences to heal himself,
to better himself.
Yeah, to better himself. Yeah.
Sure.
It's just, it gets really real, like you don't expect a fantasy movie to get, you know, and it's
like a horror movie. It's like
a little fantasy horror. It's like it's like it reminds me a lot like Stephen King. His ideas, the way he writes stuff, it reminds me a lot of Guillermo del Toro in a lot of ways because they use emotion, like abstract ideas, as like they like channel them into like concrete ideas in like these crazy ways, you know.
Right.
And their ideas of ghosts, I think, are very similar. Like, it's more of, like, the emotion stored here than an actual consciousness. You know what I mean? So, that whole scene is one of the best in the movie. It's a really good callback to The Shining. And it was really well written because it kind of shows you where Dan, you know, how he's progressed. So, Rose gets to the Overlook Hotel and starts fighting with Dan, but overpowers him, and this is where he unlocks all the ghosts in his mind in the Overlook, so they all just feast on Rose. And
pretty gruesome fucking
it's super gruesome, and it's also really cool because this scene's a recreation as well of Jack chasing Wendy up the stairs when she has the baseball bat.
Yes.
Now it's Rose chasing Dan up the stairs, him holding the axe, so there's a cool little parallel. They recreated some of the angles. They even had her put her hands up when he put his hands up. Did you notice that? I didn't notice that before. I thought that was funny. But yeah, he takes a whack at her and gets her right in the shoulder, and then she gets on top of him and starts like, because she
stabs him with the axe.
She gets him with the back part of the axe in the leg, and so she's like twisting her finger in his wound, you know?
Wound, yeah. Getting turned on by it. She's like, "You like that, big boy?"
Yeah, it was fucking.
She's like, "I'm gonna steam so hard." I'm like,
yeah, it was like she was like, "Your steam is so good." I was
like,
She's like, "You taste like West
like, like if I was in a little Dr. Sleep role, I'd definitely be dead. Like,
so they don't call me Dick Halloran for nothing.
Hey.
But yeah,
Rose the Hat.
Cap.
I'm like, I have steam. She's like, I don't see it. I'm like, you gotta suck it to see it.
Oh my god. But anyway, yeah, the ghosts end up like feasting on Rose, and like to the point to where she disappears into a cloud, like they usually do when they die. Which I thought was interesting because it was almost like they were physically.
Like
taking the power more than like the steam, you know. So it was really weird because it's like I thought they were ghosts though. So I don't, But then they try to go after Dan, and they end up not taking his life force, but going back into like his consciousness, I guess, and like taking him over. It's really hard to explain because in one way they were in his consciousness, they were just locked up. And when they came back in, it was almost like because he hadn't boxed them back up, they had more power. And I think it was because they had eaten Rose. So they had a little more power. They were less hungry.
And Rose had just eaten like fucking 3 people's steam or whatever before that.
At least 3, yeah. So they come after Dan. They end up possessing him. And then he goes after Abra after getting possessed. And this is where it gets interesting because one of his eyes goes white.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of a parallel to when his dad was chasing him, you know? And it's just really creepy. Oh, and it's really great because when he actually goes to possess Abra, or go to kill Abra, Abra sees the woman in the tub.
Oh,
and she goes, try it. And it's just like, damn, like she's gotten really confident with her powers.
For sure.
Which is good because she's really good with her powers. And Dan actually goes to like hit her with the axe and she stops it with her mind. And then it's really like, I thought it was really sweet. She goes and like touches his hand and then he like kind of lowers his hand and it's just like, she kind of like taps into the actual Dan instead of like the ghosts or whatever. But yeah, I really like what's her name? Kylie Curran, I think. Curran. Abra, yeah, okay. She's really, really good. Definitely, other than Ewan McGregor, I think the best actor in the movie, I would say, just because I think she does that character really well. And she, like, for a kid actor and a kid character, she's really well written and, like, well spoken, and she really expresses herself properly to where she's not, like, cringe in any way. She's not, like, trying to be, like, hip or, like, whatever. She's just being herself.
Definitely,
and it's very, very... It's just a well-rounded character. And for a kid character, I appreciate that a lot. Because sometimes kid characters just come off as one-dimensional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sometimes you can, like, see through the...
Yeah. He gets Abra to leave because the boiler room's going to blow pretty soon. And then he gets repossessed by the ghosts, and then he's kind of going back and forth in the boiler room as to like Dan, and the ghosts are trying to turn the boiler off. Dan's trying to keep him from turning it off, so there's like this whole back and forth thing, and it's almost like a typical climax of a movie, but it's literally just a guy fighting himself, you know? So
literally.
It's just really interesting. But then he sees his mom. This is what I was talking about earlier. He basically, after everything's like blown up, everything's on fire. Abra's outside looking at the Overlook, just kind of burned down. She hears these fire engines coming, and then we cut back, and Dan actually sees his mom from when he was a little kid, and it pans over to his mom, and then it pans back, and then he's a little kid again. And it was just like...
It was like a beautiful moment, too.
Yeah, it's just really well done because it's like it's almost like he's in heaven now because like he did what he was supposed to, you know, and like healed the wound that was caused by Jack at the Overlook. So, and then sometime later, it's kind of a little epilogue-y. Abra is talking to Dan, like his spirit, like he would talk to Dick Halloran as a kid, and telling Dan that she's okay, and Dan basically corrects what he said to her earlier because, you know, before all the conflict and stuff when she first contacted him, he was telling her to hide The Shining and, like, not let on to anybody, like, who she was and, like, what kind of power she had because he didn't want to get hurt. And now basically he is telling her to shine on and be there for others and, like,
teach them,
make a stand, and yeah, like, you know, just do what you can to help others. And her mom walks in after the fact and is like, "Who are you talking to?" And she goes, "Nobody," because I think she has a disconnect with her mom for some reason. And then she's like, "That's not true," and she explains it. And then after her and her mom like reconcile and talk or whatever, she sees the woman from the tub in room 237 in her bathroom. So she goes into the bathroom and then kind of like shuts the door, and then that's the end. And it's a really good ending. I was just telling Tommy J, I think the only thing that would have made it better is if they gave Abra her own ghost, maybe like a relative or like someone else that had died in their house, because I just think it would have been more identifying. Like they did the lady in the tub just so you get what she's going through, but I think to make it more character accurate, it would have just been, it would have been a little more fine tuned. I mean, that's like the only critique I have for the whole friggin' movie. So, but yeah, I mean, what's your like general thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, I think one of the best sequels done to a movie. Like it's just fits together like a puzzle piece. Yeah, I don't even know. It's a fucking awesome movie. Definitely one of my favorites. Also, yeah, for sure.
Do you like this more than The Shining?
Fuck. Why do you gotta do this to me? Every fucking time.
Every time. Come on,
shit.
man.
Because it kind of wouldn't be what it is without The Shining as well. So it's like,
that's
you know what I
With
mean?
the Blade Runner too.
Yeah. So it's like, but if you, shit.
I know, dude. It's not.
I feel like it really depends what mood I'm in. Because sometimes I do want to see The Shining, and
OG.
sometimes I want to see Doctor Sleep. Because they're very different movies, like sort of different moods.
No, it's like I said. Like Doctor Sleep's more of like an X-Men movie.
Yeah.
Whereas The Shining is straight, just like psychological horror. Film.
Yeah,
like,
straight up, like.
And yeah, I mean, all in all, man, I think this movie. The brilliant part about this movie is what Mike Flanagan had to pull off with. So I don't. Most people who know about The Shining know that Stephen King hated it.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And he did not like Stanley Kubrick's adaptation, his take on it, because he thought that they didn't make Jack relatable enough in the beginning. They thought that Stephen King thought that he was too much of an asshole from the beginning of the movie.
Oh, wow.
So, because the way he wrote it in the book, I guess he's more, like, chill and, like, laid back before he goes crazy, you know?
Gotcha.
So it's more noticeable. But I think Kubrick, because Kubrick has a whole psychological aspect to all his movies, and I think he was trying to show that any man can be turned through, like, lust or anger, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what he was trying to say through that. But Kubrick was Kubrick. He wasn't going to supersede what he believed a movie should be for some author.
Right.
That's just not how he thought, which may not have been correct, but The Shining wouldn't be what it is today if he had kind of feigned to what Stephen King wanted.
Right.
So there's been this whole kind of like, because then they redid The Shining in the 90s as a miniseries. And and Stephen King wrote that one. He wrote the screenplay for it. So it was like, that was the one that he was like, this is the good Shining.
I didn't even know that. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. The guy that made that movie Sleepwalkers, he made it. Mick Garris.
I don't think I've seen it. Sleepwalkers.
That was the one that had Shelley in it. And
remember,
there was like the mom and the son that were like the demons in this, that like suck the souls out of people and shit. Yeah. But yeah, he made the series The Shining, and that was kind of the one that Stephen King like had the blessing of Stephen King, whatever.
Right.
But Mike Flanagan is a big Stephen King fan and a big Stanley Kubrick fan. So he wanted to marry the two and make a proper adaptation of the book while also making a good sequel to the Stanley Kubrick movie. And that was like, to me, that was the amazing part of this movie to me, because even if you hated The Shining, you could watch this and it would be a good adaptation of the Dr. Sleep book.
Right.
You know, I've never read it, but that's what people say. But then, you know, if you've seen The Shining, you would also love it just because of how much it references that movie and how it kind of heals the wounds that movie brought on, and like the events of the movie brought on, you know. Just because when he finds sobriety and like when he's like dedicating it to his dad and stuff, that really just is kind of like, okay, like everything's gonna be okay, you know, like no matter what happens now, like Dan he's corrected his own like being in his own life,
right?
You know, so I don't know.
Peace.
It's just like crazy how deep these movies get when you really like look at the two of them back to back and compare them. That's why I wanted to do it for the HorrorFest, because it's like it doesn't really get better than these two sequels, like Shining, Dr. Sleep back to back, like, yeah. And I don't even know, like, I would love to see a story about Abra, but it's also like these two together are so perfect. I don't know if a third one would make it better or worse, you know.
Even though, like I was saying, I feel like they definitely set it up to where a third one could happen. not that they're saying that they're going to do a third one or anything, but like
Right.
just the way that it was set up towards the end, it's like, yeah, they can make a third one, but
Stephen King's still around. He could write another book, so
Hey.
you never know. A lot of his books cross over too. So I mean,
wow.
most of his books take place in the same universe.
damn.
That's what, like, did you ever watch that show Castle Rock on Hulu? That's what that show's all about. It's like every Stephen King book in one show. Like bunches of characters from different shit. Like Carrie shows up. I think the kid who plays Pennywise in the It movies is playing somebody else in the show, but he's in it. There's tons of, like, the woman from Misery comes back in the show.
Oh wow.
Like there's all kinds of crazy stuff.
Wow.
That was the cool thing about Stephen King too, man. Is like he would write fantasy, like horror stuff, but then he would just write like drama thrillers too, you know, and like he could just kind of jump back and forth because Misery didn't have any fantasy aspect to it, you know. All of that could have really happened, you know. So
easily,
yeah. But yeah, that was the big challenge. The big like wow of this movie to me was like, what, you know what I mean? Like crazy. What is that noise? Anyway, sorry. So what would you rate Dr. Sleep out of 10?
So as far I would definitely give it like a 9.
Okay.
And definitely, I'm giving it a 9 as like definitely as a movie alone, but also just as it being the sequel of The Shining. Like
Right.
yeah.
I mean, I don't think you could have made a better sequel to The Shining, like, because it's The Shining, bro. Like, you can't just get anybody to do a sequel to that. You gotta get the best of the best, and like Mike Flanagan's definitely one of the best for sure.
And like you said, it went from this like psychological horror to this like I don't know, this like adventure. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a conspiracy, like adventure action movie, like
and it was done well, so it's like.
Do we mention hashtag AJ was right?
AJ.
Wait, your boy.
Oh, Alex Jones, bro.
Do we mention it?
Jesus, we did not.
No, do we though? Like, do we do this at the move or?
I mean,
my man did the Sandy Hill. Like, everybody's mad at him.
Everyone's mad at him about the hey. They're gonna be like, we're never watching
LaneFlix media is canceled. Let's not. Yeah.
He's going through some legal trouble.
We got enough controversy talking about fucking killing kids and shit.
Yeah.
It's fucking reviews, so yeah. Alright. Favorite part?
Oh, my favorite parts. Ooh. Let me see. I think when the witch, what's her name, Rose the Hat, when she tries to go inside of Abra's mind for the first time, and they like trick her hand gets all fucked up. And she gets, like,
the
thrown.
file cabinets.
Yeah, she gets like thrown from her mind, literally like,
Yeah.
off of her little RV or whatever the fuck they're in.
Yeah, that shit was cool.
Yeah. How about you?
I don't know, man. Like, there's so many good moments. I love when he gets Rose the Hat with the like, you don't know where you're standing.
Right.
Because it's like a little, like, I don't know, superhero type, like,
Yeah.
type moment, you know? But then I also love when Abra uses her powers because she's really good too. Like when she like you were saying, when she fights back with Rose.
Yes.
Fucking awesome because she like basically kicks her out, you know.
Big
she like
time.
traps her and is like, "Bye, bitch."
Yeah.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of good parts. I mean, even even the scenes with some of the bad guys are just really good, just because the actors are good, you know,
for sure.
I mean, it's horrifying, but it's also like really well done. I do appreciate. I mean, this is gonna sound fucked up, but I really appreciate the fact that they went all out with like a kid torture scene. They didn't like shy away in any way from that, because, and I think some people got offended or like mad at it, and it's like, I get it, but it's also like you can't express how evil these people are without showing that.
Yeah.
You know, like They took this innocent, adorable little kid and just like butchered him.
Yeah.
Slowly and like enjoyed that shit, and just so they could live longer. You know.
It purifies the steam.
Yeah. It was pretty horrific.
And it's crazy because like there's also the aspect of like the chick, the blonde haired chick, Snakebite Andy.
Mm-hmm. How
she was like, you know, she hunted child predators and then eventually became one. It's like wild, dude.
You either die a hero,
live long enough to become a villain.
Yep. Career politicians, guys.
Crazy, bro.
I think that's all. Honestly, what Stephen King was saying. Career politicians are the soul vampires of society.
He said, "You vowed to fight the Sith, not join them."
They're like, no. When fucking I almost said it, Obi-Wan. When Ewan McGregor has the when Dan has the axe out. Okay. When Dan has his is like holding the axe, it always reminds me of him holding the lightsaber because he's just like battle ready.
Yeah. The whole movie, I was hoping he would just pull out a lightsaber, say like an Obi-Wan line, like.
And it's funny because she kept saying hi there.
Yeah.
And it's like
all right.
Yeah, I don't know if that was like. I don't know.
Because she said it a lot too. It's not like she like subtly did it. She was just always like, "Hi there." Like,
yeah. He should have said, "I have the high ground," because he was up on the stairs. You know.
He's like winks at the camera.
Aber's like,
bro, conspiracy theories would be off their fucking rockers if he did that. Like,
yeah, they'd be like, "Does he really have the Force?
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor's a real Force." Oh my god. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good scenes. I really like the first scene, to be honest, with the little girl. It's really creepy and like really is a statement about who these characters are and like who they will be like throughout the movie.
Nice intro to him.
Def. Favorite actor
out of the whole movie.
Favorite
actor
and or favorite character.
Okay.
So like if they're two different things, you know.
Right. Let me see. Favorite actor. I mean, Rose the Hat is pretty phenomenal.
She was great.
Yeah, she's a good bad guy. Aside from her being hot as fuck, but
hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, I think I would say her for sure.
So both actor and character. Okay, that's cool, bro. I don't know. I think I just always love Ewan McGregor as an actor, but I like the Aber character. I think
she's awesome too, for sure.
Just because Aber was like a new character, and she's like I said, she's real as hell for like a little kid, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I would rate this. I'd probably give this like a 9.5, bro. Because I mean, this is like a close to perfect sequel, close to perfect movie all around. Little Charlie. Dude, come here. She didn't even bite me. She was just chilling. Hey, come here. But yeah, you got any closing thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, like I said, that's one of my favorite movies, and I would recommend to watch.
Charlie's like, it was terrible.
Fuck Dr. Sleep. But no, yeah, definitely would recommend 10 out of 10 to watch.
Oh yeah. Yeah, me too. I mean, especially if you watch The Shining, I think it would like definitely like play better. But even if you haven't, you can just watch it as its own thing. Especially if you like Stephen King or Ewan McGregor. And yeah, I mean, check it out. It's on HBO Max, so if you want to stream it, you can. I would suggest watching The Shining first, or at least reading up on it and just kind of getting to know what it is. But you don't have to. And yeah, I appreciate you guys listening, and we will see you. What's the next one you're doing with me? I don't even remember.
I am not too sure. Isn't it like Alien or something?
Something like that, yeah. Tommy J's gonna be back. He's gonna be back. So we'll see you guys next time.
Don't you guys worry. Peace.
All right.